Hello YouTube world and welcome back to the channel. I was in the Outlands. Today marks the 12th year of the first WoW expansion ever. And I already was around here messing around. But it seems like, because it's been a while since I played, see what happens when I go through the portal? It let me escape the portal, but I can't go back in it. This is where the journey would begin, 12 years ago at the Dark Portal in the Blasted Lands down here. I'm just gonna hearth, and I'm just gonna talk a little bit. All this is, by the way, this is just babbling, this is just reminiscing, this is just going back down memory lane. You know, this is nostalgia. What's changed? I'm only gonna highlight a few things that's changed since the Burning Crusade, you know, what I really enjoy about it. I want to try to stay positive. The overall game has obviously changed a lot, the landscape of the game. The community is definitely nowhere near what it used to be. It's just a different generation of people. And yeah, so right now I'm in the midst of Pandaria. That still seems to be a very popular place. If you've noticed, I'm on a level 20 character. I can't afford to play anymore, so boo-hoo me. So I have to play my level 20 characters. So that's another thing you could do now. You could play your level 20 characters on your own account. Yeah, while we're doing all this, you can transmog your gear now. Which means that you can come here and you can simply change the way, see, your character looks. You can choose any piece that you've ever unlocked anywhere on your account. And yeah, it's awesome. I absolutely love it. People were talking about classic WoW coming back. I think I'm gonna go to Orgrimmar and try to go through the portal. I could just go to Shat and fly over. Yeah, let's just do that, just for the sake of talking. You could transmog. You have real friend ID, so you can add people via email or via their in-game name, their gamer tag. So like mine, for example, is Spartacus1776. So if you added that, we could be like real friends or whatever, and then if I add your you can choose whether or not you want to be actual friends and see each other's names. What else can you do? Oh, just so much has changed. I mean, the graphics, the particle, the lightings, a lot of things have improved. Just so much has gone on. Let me just fly all the way over here and we'll sort of start off where you saw me there at the portal.
Remember.
We'll just kind of reminisce down memory lane. And 12 years ago, I probably would have been disconnected flying into here. Even with at the time 4 gigs of RAM, I think, but then I boosted it up to 8 and that was fine. So as we have an overview here, we can look at Terakar Forest. I mean, just the time. This is where flying was first introduced. You could only fly in Outlands at the time. Now we could fly anywhere in the game, except for the most current expansion, and then even then you have to wait until you get that achievement that allows you to fly in the most current expansion. But, yeah, there's the achievement system. I mean, these have all been in place for so long, right? I'm just kind of highlighting a few things. Maybe there's some of you that are going to watch this, if anybody even watches this, that has not even played the game in a decade or several years or whatever, or are playing right now, but they didn't know how the game was before. Yeah, you couldn't fly. You were stuck on the ground. You could only fly, like I said, in Outlands once you hit level 70. And transmog, there's cross realms, so people from different realms, they can sort of cross over in certain areas, for the lack of a better term. I'm not going to really know how to explain this technically, but when you're running around in the game world, you could see people from different servers, and it used to be cross-realmed. If you were RP PvP, you'd only be cross-realmed with RP PvP. Except now in the newest expansion, they've completely taken that out. So now you can turn off... I gotta turn off my phone, it keeps beeping. You can go to your talents here, and you can read that real quick. Enlist in war mode and activate world PvP, increasing quest rewards and experience by 10% and enabling PvP talents. So the talent tree is gone. So I kind of missed the talent tree. That's a huge thing that you know, they've really dumbed it down, streamlined it. Is that an oxymoron, or is that contradicting when I say that? They streamlined it, but they've dumbed it down. You have your specializations that you can change at any time. I don't think dual spec existed back in Burning Crusade, so I don't remember a lot of what was back then, because it was a long time ago, and in the last 3 or 4 years I haven't been as active in WoW. A lot of financial issues, so boo-hoo me. Like I said, this isn't supposed to be a sob story. So I usually do level up by the expansion, but then I only play for about a month or two, and then I kind of stop and just play my free trial account. But the talent tree's gone. Like I said, doesn't matter what server you're on now. There is no such thing as a RP PvP or RP PvE server. They're just RP. Maybe we could take a look at that real quick. No, is that? No, that's not interesting. What else can I say? I really do enjoy the game. Like, overall, I would still sub if I could afford it. But the community, by far, like I said, is the biggest thing. It's just a different generation of people. People back then, back in the day, up until about Wrath of the Lich King. I think a lot of people will agree, after the Lich King died, coincidentally, is around when the game started to decline and do sort of like a nosedive, as people would call it. But I definitely still enjoy the game today. Oh, it looks like someone started an event. I was just gonna like roam around, to be honest with you, and I'm probably gonna get my ass kicked, but it's just me ranting on. Like I said, I'm just mumbling on. So, by the way, the portal, notice how massive it is on this side, but when you go on the other side, remember how small it was? So that was one thing I always wondered, is why is it so massive on this side? Like, that's just massive, but on the other side it's like so tiny. So I thought that was always interesting. But I'm sorry, I kind of lost my spot. That's what happens when you have ADHD and your brain goes a million miles an hour. The community, like I said, is the biggest thing. People used to call you emo back then. That was the word, emo. No one ever said, hey bro. People didn't bro you back then. I mean, the odd person calls me that. It's not like I get angry. It's more the ones that are like, hey bro, you mad? You know, those kinds of people. It's like, why would you call me brother and then insult me? That just makes no sense. But, and there was a lot of Chuck Norris jokes back then. Those were the things that people talked about back then. There was a lot of, I mean, there were still trolls, but people were just so helpful. They were so generous. They were so caring and giving. And people are just, I'm not saying there aren't any people like that now, but it definitely doesn't feel the same as it did before. It's just unbelievable. So like I've mentioned, World PvP, mine is off. You can completely shut it off. It's absolutely... yeah, I'm not going to do too good there if I get hit too many times at level 20. Oh, zones scale now. Like, there's still a minimum and a maximum, but I'll show you that in a second if I don't actually die here. Because these are probably level 58s. See, so like a zone now. See how it says 58 to 80? You can actually level all the way up to 80 if you want. So that's new, okay? Like, since since Burning Crusade. I'm sorry. Since Burning Crusade. And let me just stop here for a second. So, like, if we go back to Azeroth, you know, like, Eastern Kingdoms. No. Yeah, let's go to Kalimdor. So you could level all the way up to 60 now. So basically, whatever the max zone was for that level, for that expansion, no, that's not true. Because you can go all the way to 60 here, but you have to be 10. Here, you got to be 25 to 60. So you get the idea. So there's that type of scaling, 40 to 60. But again, Northrend, yeah, 67, 64. Yeah, 58. So you could start at 58 now if you wanted, you know, your typical Borean Tundra and Howling Fjord. So I thought that was that's another major change. You can create a horde and an alliance on the same realm, same server, same account. You couldn't do that before. You can faction change, you can race change, realm change. Some of those you could do back in VC again, but I'm highlighting a few others. I forget which one was which that you could not do before. And again, like I said, this video is probably like very, very boring, but I really felt, I really wanted to be able to reminisce, and even though I don't have my main account, or this is my main account, but my main character is active, that I could have just flown around, it probably would have been more interesting. I probably would have been able to cover a lot more ground a lot quicker, whereas unfortunately for here, I'm stuck with going, you know, super slow. So actually, you know what I'm going to do? I think I'm going to... This was the first zone. There used to be the Fell Reaver as well. I know I'm probably talking super quick because I'm trying to make this video not like 3 years long. And everything I want to talk about and cover is just random babbling, to be quite honest with you. But there used to be just so much world PvP. I mean, everybody remembers the Hillsbrad world PvP before even PvP existed, before even Battlegrounds were introduced. And that was pretty amazing. So I managed to go here. That was pretty deadly. Terrakar Forest. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to show you all the zones. Had I had speed flying on my Death Knight, boom, I could have done it so quickly. Or gone to each zone, cut and paste the videos together. But to be honest with you, not that I'm not willing to put the work in.
Farewell.
But to be honest, it's probably, this video is probably not going to do that good anyways. A little bit of a video documentary for myself, actually, too, as well. I might watch this in 5-10 years and go, oh, wow. I think I may have some old footage of me in WoW. I don't remember. But I do have screenshots from back in the day. For, like, memory's sake. A few glitches sometimes that have happened. I've recorded some of that. I remember these towers. This was like a bit of world PvP where you had to hold the towers and stuff like that, and you had them in Terrakar Forest as well. There was just so much stuff that's changed since then. It's... oh, wow. It would just take forever, especially off the top of my head for someone who hasn't been too active and aggressive with WoW over the time. But now that I'm flying, we can kind of get the whole Hellfire Peninsula vibe. And we're going to be briefly going into, as the colors change, we're going to be going into Terrakar Forest. Shadow Moon, I mean, most people probably already know all these. I'm not really going to be able to touch too many zones. Did Hellfire. Terrakar, let's take a quick look at it. Probably cover 2 or 3 of the zones. Show you what that looks like right there. Very greenish forestry. It's where our main world is, Shatrith City. Oh, we could see Zangarmarsh in the background there with all the mushrooms. Oh, the amount of world PvP. That had to be one of the biggest spots for world PvP there in Nagrand. Oh my goodness. Just such good times. Unbelievable. I can't get over it. Like I said, of every video game I've ever played in my life, this is by far the one I have sunk the most time in over the years. Just like, wow. And then people used to queue up for Battlegrounds. Oh, that's another thing. You could just queue up for a Battleground. Watch me not even know how to do it now. Somewhere down here, Group Finder. Yeah, see, you could just like boom right from here, pick your role. You could do player versus player, so you could do Battlegrounds, random Battlegrounds, and all that. Epic random Battlegrounds, Arena Skirmish. You no longer have to talk to the NPC. Again, I forget when they got rid of that. I don't remember everything. I know that Nagrand, I think, is somewhere over here. You used to have to pick Scryers or Eldor. I think everybody I knew picked Eldor for some reason. I don't remember anybody picking Scryer. But yeah, so, you know, if you happen to watch this video, you aren't completely nuts, and you kind of happen to like it, or even if you don't like it, whatever. I'd be curious to hear your experience with WoW, what you thought of it. Do you play the game? Have you ever played the game? How long has it been since you played? Whatever, you know? There's so many different types of people. Like I said, people that used to play it, they don't anymore. They sort of kind of do, but not really. Yeah, see, this is Terracar Forest, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, I think I do have to come up here to go into Zangarmarsh. Yeah, kind of come up top. But I'm protected no matter what. I mean, in the sense of, like, from World PvP, I don't have to worry about getting ganked while I'm making my video. But yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite expansions. Just so happens that one of the first expansions is one of my favorite ones. And, it was, like, hard, but there was, like, a good balance, and having to raid really took... You know, like Karazhan. I mean, it wasn't like Molten Core or anything, but it was still pretty up there, you know? I don't know how far I'm going to want to go into each zone. I kind of just want to, like, dabble in a little bit. Like I said, I'm just sort of reminiscing a little bit here. I still haven't... There we go. The main town, I think, was somewhere over here. Let's see if I can even make it. You know, like Hillsbrad, South Shore PvP, right? For people that were around back in the day. Obviously before Burning Crusade. I don't know, even during Burning Crusade it happened, just it started to die down a little bit. But it was still there, of course, but not like as quite as psychotic as it was before. Obviously, by the time BC hit, that was no longer the main thing to do. People were busy in this area. See, that guy totally would have kicked my ass had this been PvP. But, yeah, the amount of PvP that was here, and I played on a few different servers. I'm doing not too bad so far, just kind of roaming around. If I get stung by that bee, it's going to be the end of me. You know what they say, even in the WoW tips, if you stay on the main road, you'll generally do pretty good. It's just, this is a lot slower than I would have wanted to. At level 20, you get your mount now. At level 40 is when you get your epic. I don't exactly remember how long that's been around for, but this area, on my Undead Mage and my... I don't remember. But just this spot here, the amount of ganking at Cenarian Refuge that used to go on. Oh man, it was just something else. And then the inn, I used to go in with my Undead Rogue. I used to gank people, vanish. And then my Shadow Priest at the time. I used to, like, say, come here. And then there would be, like, people browsing at the NPCs, and I would just, like, kick their ass, plain and simple. Same thing with my hunter. I'd enrage my pet and just send him ravaging through. Now, right here, that's, yeah, that's the entrance to, whatchamacallit. Hellfire Peninsula, where we just were there when I was flying over. This would have been the normal way of coming in. I kind of went in, sort of like... from Shatworth City because I wanted to come in here. But this was a bit of a hard zone, especially as a rogue. There was no recuperate back then. Game was always easier as a Death Knight, Hunter, Warlock, Mage. Right? Rogue is more of a, you know what I mean. I mean, even this expansion, I leveled up to the max to 120 there. And my rogue, I'm not gonna lie, I was well geared. It wasn't that nice. I didn't feel like a badass. Now my feral druid, oh my goodness. Did he just ravage through stuff? I'm not quite 120 yet, but let me tell you, did I mangle my way around. Same thing with the Death Knight, the Hunter, hell, even the Shaman, however you want to pronounce it. I mean, I really just had a much easier time leveling this expansion. Like the current one, I mean. That's going on. I played for about the first month and a half, like I said, and then I kind of stopped. I wish I hadn't, but like I said, you gotta do, you know, what you gotta do. This was a nice zone too. And yeah, I don't even know where else to go. If I should go back to Shat, maybe go into Nagrand a bit. I mean, obviously people are going to stop watching this video whenever they want, right? So, I just need to read something super duper quick, sorry, while I'm flying. Yeah, that's too long of an ad. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother reading that. How long have I been talking for? Oh my goodness, I don't even know how I do it. Yeah, so like I said, I really seriously do want to hear what people have to think about WoW's current state. Are they enjoying the game, or are you enjoying the game? Like I said, me, it's a mixed bag. It's contradicting. I enjoy the game as much now. No, that's not true. Mechanically, in a way, as I did back then. Back then, it was more hardcore. It was harder. But I think I'm also being a little bit biased because back then, I had friends. Yeah, we can look at my friends list, boo-hoo, look at me, all these people, and think I'm special. But not really. There's a lot of people on there that aren't even on there anymore because they just don't play the game, whatever. And that's just the way it is. I mean, a lot of people came and went. And, sadly, most of the amazing people that I met, I mean, just some absolute incredible people. Unbelievable. They were all met during Classic WoW, Burning Crusade, and some Wrath of the Lich King. I met some amazing people from about 2008 to about 2010, about when the whole Wrath thing ended. I think that's when it was. But by 211, by Cataclysm, basically, when the Earth ruptured apart, that's pretty much when I feel my experience kind of went along with it. Isn't this where you get kicked off if you're not Eldor? Because I want to go to Nagrand really quick, just for the fun of it. That was another nice little spot I used to go to. There used to be a lot of people here. This used to be a huge spot for a lot of people back in the day. But yeah, like I said, I could go on, and I think I already have long enough. I've probably bored most people to death. But you know what? You can't please everyone, right? You can't. Some people are gonna like you, some people aren't gonna like you. That's the way it is. You could be the nicest person on the planet. The most generous, kindest person. Give everybody in the entire world $1 million. You know that there's still going to be people that hate your ass. That's a fact. Oh, you think you're so special? You think you own me now because you gave me $1 million? You know what I mean? Like, you can't win with everyone. graphics on these flowers seem a little bit better than the ones in Azeroth. They have a little bit more, like they're still paper thin, but they have a little bit more design to them. Anyhow, this is Nagrand, if you guys remember Nagrand. Like the Burning Crusade Nagrand. I don't know why I've dropped to 40 frames. I do have a fairly strong computer. I want to try something. Maybe I went a little bit too much with this. Let's see here. Actually, this zone I used to find was a bit buggy. You can't still tell me that it's like that now. That's kind of funny. But yeah, Nagrand has all like the floating islands and stuff like that, and holy cow. He's not happy I'm here. Yeah, C61. Let me bring it back up. If it can't handle it, too bad. Yeah, see, it's fine now. I have it capped at, I tried to do 60, but it went to 61. Sometimes there's spots in the game I still find are a bit resource intensive, but for the most part, it runs pretty smooth. It's the frame dip, right? I mean, heck, even 30 frames a second would be more less jarring than like dropping from 60 to 40, right? Like that quick drastic change. And yeah, wow, almost a half hour of me just rambling, and I only covered a few zones. I can't do them all, and I don't think I would have been able to make this video any shorter, to be perfectly honest with you. But I just wanted to do a bit of, you know, a trip to the past a little bit. Although, truly doing that would have required me playing a private server on this patch, but I don't want to get into that. Yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I can't really think of anything else to say. I highlighted a few things, like I said, that's changed. Some minor things, but that I think are pretty big. And, yeah, it'll still be interesting to see how WoW progresses over time. What's going to be the, you know, the next expansion, even though this one just came out a few months ago. How many more are they going to be pushing for? When do we think, you know, they'll run out of steam and that'll just be the end of it? Will WoW ever go free to play in the sense of, you know, they'll stop updating the game, but they'll let people just play the game? I mean, look how good Guild Wars is doing. I mean, Guild Wars and Guild Wars 2. I played Guild Wars aggressively when it came out in 2.05. I was playing... It's not fun. It's a good game. And I play Guild Wars 2 as well. Not nearly as much as I did Guild Wars 1. But it, to me, for like a pay-to-play... Yeah, because you pay and then you play. There's no monthly subscription. I'm sorry, but Guild Wars is a fantastic MMORPG. Now, the first Guild Wars wasn't really an MMORPG, because you only had access to seeing people in major cities. I almost said titties, for some reason. And then when you get out of town, it's instanced, and it's only you and whoever was in your party. But for Guild Wars 2, that's a full-blown MMORPG, and that's already been out for a really long time, and that's pretty amazing. But for this one, for a paid with a subscription, you know, that's debatable, you know, which one's better. I mean, it's personal preference. I still much prefer this game. Guild Wars 2, I find the communities a little better than WoW nowadays. That could just be my luck, my personal experience. But, anyhow, like I said, I've probably bored you guys and girls to death already if you even made it past 2 minutes in this video. And with that, I bid everybody farewell. This is finally the end of the video. We're reaching the 30-minute mark. So, as usual, if you liked the video, you can give it a thumbs up, or 2. If you didn't like the video, you can give it a thumbs down, and I'll just toss you in that portal, and who knows where you'll end up. You'll never be able to come back, and your Hearthstone won't work either. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, I mainly do console gaming. I do some PC gaming, but really I haven't done much yet. This is my first PC game video that I do, and arguably, like I said, this is probably overall, like my overall favorite game in the entire world. Just sadly, like I said, with lack of friends and funding financially, I don't really play it much. Because on a level 20, you can only do so much, right? You can do Battlegrounds, you can do, I'm sorry, I know I'm going on and on, but when you do Battlegrounds, come on, where is it? Say you wanted to do a specific Battleground, just to show you on even on a free account. Probably should have mentioned this at the beginning, not 30 minutes in. You can do your Warsong Gulch, obviously, or Rothi Basin, but look at that. You can do Eye of the Storm, Alterac Valley, and Isle of Conquest. Isn't that amazing? At low level, you no longer have to be level 58 or 60 for Alterac Valley and all that. So if you want, you could just be like, yeah, I want to do an Alterac Valley. Yeah, I promise you it's going to take you longer than a minute to get in. Oh, it's not showing me the average. But anyhow, that is it for me. Or I'll go on forever. Take care, everyone. And perhaps I'll make another video like this, maybe a little bit more entertaining some other time. Take care now.